I'd like to apologize to the XRP community. And I'd love to find ways to build bridges and work with them, just like we're building bridges and working with the Bitcoin ecosystem. There are many areas of potential collaboration that I could see, from midnight interoperability with Ripple up to and including perhaps participating in the stablecoin that the Ripple ecosystem has been creating.
Back in November, the founder of Cardano, or the ADA token, Charles Hoskinson, shared that he would like to partner with Ripple. And if this partnership does come to fruition, this could be massive, not only for Cardano, but also Ripple, as they are now the dominant player in all of crypto, recently launching their RLUSD stablecoin and being fourth largest crypto by market cap. If you scroll down just slightly lower, you can see that Cardano ranks in at number 9 by market cap, which is actually quite impressive considering it has a $30+ billion market cap. In other words, this would create waves in the industry and create for a stronger moat in both of their business models. As I've stated before, it's better that more cryptos win than just a few, because this creates strength in the underlying industry and solidifies both of these assets. And matter of fact, all crypto assets as a legitimate asset class and one that hosts innovative technology, which will create jobs and an industry boom. Now, take it from me, I've been around the crypto space and in the trenches since early 2016, and I've seen crypto communities can be a bit tribal. You have some that are maximalists. Sometimes you'll get a few hardcore believers who will take every opportunity to jab at others. And I've seen a lot of drama and beef between Cardano and XRP members, people saying XRP is not going anywhere, whereas on the Cardano side, you have people saying they really don't have any utility, very few use cases, and Charles Hoskinson is just a talker. Now, this is what Charles Hoskinson was addressing in this recent video from November. However, a more recent video just came out where he shares something really interesting, and I will be covering it inside of the video. Then this article all but confirms what he shared. So yes, we're going to cover that, as well as some really interesting information surrounding the RLUSD stablecoin that will send shockwaves through the stablecoin industry and market, which virtually nobody is talking about right now. And the answer lies right here. So let's get into the video, and if you're feeling blessed and bullish, comment 777, and if you're going to be the wealthiest person in your family tree, smash the subscribe button. Hello and welcome back to the YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Paul. You can find me on Twitter or X at PaulieDeFi, PaulieDeFi. And really quickly, we are going to cover the price action and the chart on XRP. Typically, we save this for last, but we're going to share some of this information on the Cardano partnership here shortly. So that said, we have a series of lower highs right here in a descending wedge. However, we have a support right down here at about $1.95. And since this moment in time, we have been in an intermediate term downtrend, putting in a series of lower highs and a potential lower low. However, right now, things remain really flat. As you can see here, we have a support, and I'll try to get that right over here. We have a support right here. We had a massive breakout to 290 from about $1.95, with a breakdown once and twice back into the range. So it is very much possible that we break right back down into this range. This is a 4-hour time frame. What I will also state is the fact that right now things are starting to really crunch in terms of volatility. In other words, we are starting to get a tight squeeze in a Bollinger Band. And whenever you get this type of a situation, you can bet that you're going to get some sort of an explosive move either to the upside or downside, where the bands start to deviate. You can see right here, when we had all of this volatility, the bands really deviated away from each other. In the case of a very strong uptrend, more often than not, I like to call this a deviation magnet, where when the price starts to touch the top of this band or range, it consistently plays with it or acts like a magnet. Whenever you're in a range like this, however, you're going to get a lot of moves to the upside, to the downside, and again, you can reasonably expect some volatility when the band gets really tight and squeezes. In the case of a band squeeze like this, more often than not, it's in the direction of the intermediate term trend. However, in the long term, okay, as things continue to get tighter and and tighter in this range, it will likely continue to the upside in the long-term time frame. Now that said, I'm going to pull that Bollinger Band off. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the VRVP, and I'm also going to pull up a 10 and 20 EMA. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hop on over to the daily time frame. And as you can see here from a daily time frame, when we just pull up all of the price action, or at least the recent history from the local highs right over here down to the local low, you can see that a lot of volume and interest has traded right here at that $2.45 range down to about $2.35. So this would be my major range of resistance. If we fail to break above this range in any reasonable time frame, even if it takes a little longer, then things are not looking too hot for XRP. But from the perspective of this 10 and 20 EMA, the 10 EMA is this blue line, and in a very strong uptrend, as you can see here, I'll go ahead and zoom in a little. You'll see that we're actually supported right here at that 10 EMA. Whenever we start to break down below the 10 EMA, sometimes you'll expect that 20 EMA to act as a support, which is this orange line. But for the very first time, we've had a crossover where the 10 EMA is below the 20 EMA, and the price is now below both. This is typically bearish, and so I could reasonably assume that we might get one last breakdown down to about $1.95 or even below this wick to essentially wick a lot of folks out or get a lot of players out of the market before the next move to the upside. And this is something that we've actually seen someone by the name of Peter Brandt talk about. And this guy is a classical technical analyst, or a chartist, if you will. And in this post, he basically talks about a post from several years ago where he shows this hump, slump, dump, a bump and dump. In other words, this is a very familiar price action chart that we recently saw on Bitcoin. So if I pull up the Bitcoin chart right now, and you'll see right here, we have exactly the same style of trend where we have the hump, bump, slump, and dump. And right after this dump, you start to get a major pump. This is going to essentially get a lot of players out of the market and looking bearish right before the next major move up. So I do believe that is far more likely to happen. We'll take one last look at this price action and chart. You can see here, we're getting into this range that's very similar to what's happening right here, where we might dump just slightly right here and then pump really hard for a new all-time high. So I do thoroughly expect the rest of the crypto market to follow, which is why I see XRP, although it looks really weak right now, could potentially break down just slightly more. And if we're supported at this $1.95 range, that's going to be a very good time to buy, in my opinion, or even just slightly below. But from that point forward, I will no longer be adding to any of my positions. Now, from the perspective of ADA, just because we are talking about it on this video, and I'll go ahead and move myself over here, you can see that we actually had quite a bit of ranging price action, very similar to XRP. However, it did not perform to the same degree as XRP, because from the local lows, XRP was up about 500%, whereas ADA was up to its all-time high, or at least its local high, I should say, 308%. That's still a very big move, but things are looking pretty bearish, if you will. This sell-off is looking pretty strong. It's actually looking stronger than XRP, because XRP, when it had its breakdowns, it had a series of a double bottom. Here, you're getting a pretty consistent downtrend, and obviously the crossover happened a lot sooner on the 10 and 20 EMA. This is our major low. This is our next low. Here's our next high, and I would argue even if we pump a little higher right here, our next high coming right down here might get slammed right back down for a new low. So something like ADA is not performing as well as XRP, which is why 9 times out of 10, I just like to invest in the stronger performers. I like to bet on the dark horse in the race, and right now ADA simply isn't it. However, if there is a serious partnership between the two, then you could reasonably expect some level of major support right between this range right here on ADA if we continue to get breakdowns. And I'm trying to put a dang line there, but it just won't work. Right here between 67 to 77 cents. So a breakdown into this range would look pretty strong to buy on something like ADA. Now let's talk about that news between Ripple and Charles Hoskinson with Cardano.
Any new updates regarding your talks with Ripple? They're early days. We'd like to include Ripple in the Midnight ecosystem. And there are ongoing talks between the Midnight people and the Ripple people, and a lot of technological talks as well. And we've been trying to learn more about how their stack works. There's some Cardano tech we invented, in particular Marlowe, that would be tremendously useful with the Ripple ecosystem. And it would be a lot of fun to see what we could do there. And also just some things in Ripple like Flair, for example, are pretty cool, pretty interesting. But it takes time for these things to ferment. And the first step was just technical conversations, and that's what we did with David, who's been tremendously helpful and a great asset. And then at some point, once you've gotten beyond that, then there's actual integration work and other things to get done. But overall, they've been easy to work with. We met also with the RLUSD people. They were just finally got past launch, and they're trying to recover from that because that was an incredibly time-consuming effort, but we're really proud of them. And I do believe they're going to start adding other chains next year. And my recommendation to them was a self-serve model similar to Coinbase's Rosetta. It makes it a lot easier to see who's serious and who's not serious. But it would be fun to bring that into their orbit.
And so, although, again, you might have a lot of haters on either side, whether it's Ripple or Cardano, at the end of the day, I don't see any issues with integrating each other into their ecosystems, whether that's Midnight with the XRPL, or simply having liquidity transferred between the two. I think this creates for a far more open space and ecosystem. And again, these are major market cap cryptos, so it never really hurts. That said, in this article directly from Crypto Newsflash, it states that Hoskinson outlined two partnership opportunities that could occur between Cardano and Ripple. And the first is a possible integration of the much anticipated privacy-focused sidechain on Cardano called Midnight into the Ripple ecosystem. Now, in that video, he did share that he is in talks with David being David Schwartz, who is the CTO over at Ripple. I believe that they've had a long-running relationship, and who really knows what that looks like. Here's what I do know. Ripple is obviously the stronger player now, and that just shows in the price in the market cap. It also helps the fact that they actually have the RLUSD stablecoin, which we are now going to cover in this document. Now, here is this Twitter or X post from Smoke, and he follows quite a bit of this news, but he's basically stating how RLUSD will quickly surpass USDT and USDC. Now, I'm not too sure about that statement, right? You have USDT is the third largest crypto by market cap. However, with these new regulations inside of the EU and the fact that USDT is not really that compliant, they will start to be delisted on major exchanges like Coinbase or other European franchises. Or I should say business models, right? Because we're talking exchanges, not really franchises. However, RLUSD is truly fully backed, collateralized, and complies with all laws and regulations and will be MiCA compliant. It's also going to be compliant in the United States as they just got approved in New York. So that said, what I found actually quite interesting in this document, which I'm not too sure where he got the document, but you're more than welcome to look it up. It basically states, however, USDC does differ in one crucial aspect from the RLUSD in that Circle does not offer its own blockchain, which is very much true, right? RLUSD is on the XRP ledger. By being able to offer both the rails, its XRPL blockchain, and the token that can move along the rails for cross-border payment companies, Ripple is positioned to be able to provide a complete solution rather than needing to partner with other providers, such as Circle's Ripple partnership to supply MoneyGram. So that said, in many ways, creating this RLUSD stablecoin has truly solidified XRP or Ripple as an industry player that literally cannot be touched, because not only is it the fourth largest crypto by market cap, but now you're in a situation where they are completely self-reliant. And so if I want to continue to build in partnerships between banks around the world, businesses around the world, or just even offer all sorts of services to your average retail customer or investor, at the end of the day, they are truly self-sufficient. You can do it all on the XRPL, and you don't need to move outside of that ecosystem. This is going to bring a lot of liquidity and arguably pump the price of XRP even further. So this is truly exciting times for something like XRP. Now, really quickly, I will be diving into some more of the price action in terms of where my buy zones really are going to be, where I'm going to be playing the ball over the next week. And then obviously, I like to dive into the futures market because it kind of gives me a little bit more insight into the direction or the trend that is current, because these are day traders. That said, if you haven't already, head on over to bullrunners.com. You can find the link in the description below. And the reason this is so freaking time sensitive right now is because we are officially going to be raising the price to $197 a month starting January 1st. However, if you get started before that date, then you are locked in or grandfathered in at that rate. Now, we obviously have a little over 1,100 members, and it's a lot to service all these people, which is why we really want to make sure that we're doing a good job. And so we're sifting and sorting and providing all of this really high quality value and content inside of the university. So that is why we're going to be raising the price, because we want people that are more serious, people that are committed to becoming a crypto millionaire in 2025. And here, we're not only are we going to offer all sorts of expert curated classes and courses, we're going to be doing live calls where we give you real-time guidance, and you're going to be able to get your questions answered on live calls with our experts. Again, with 1,100 members, we don't always have them all hop on, but we want to make sure that we're actually servicing you and answering your questions if you have them. We're going to be sharing altcoin picks from professionals that 5x, 10x, 50x, and sometimes even 100x. Now, I can't guarantee that they will, but we have the results to prove and show. We're going to be teaching you how to do technical analysis and fundamental analysis like a pro. We're going to be showing you how to get access to the best DeFi yields on the planet, that you can put your crypto to work for you, so that way you're not just sitting on it, right? But you're actually sitting on it and earning on it. And then obviously airdrop alerts and just the access to the community. Guys, these are all paying members. So these people are very serious, and a lot of the times they'll provide alpha of their own. That said, this 26-minute video explains everything you get on the other side, and you're going to want to hustle because, again, we are raising the price to $197 a month in literally like 24 hours time. So if you haven't already done this, or at least checked it out, go ahead and do that right now, and let's get back into the video. Now, really quickly, before I do the price action on the chart, we're going to dive into the futures market. What I like to do is I come over to liquidation, I click on liquidation map. It should take you to this page, and I show people this all the time. Then I can just refresh the page so you can see. Typically, it's on Bitcoin. I like to put it on XRP. Now, this is going to be on Binance and OKX, but generally speaking, this is an aggregate. Now, if I don't take it and put it on a 7-day time frame, it's really not going to give me as much perspective. I like to turn both Binance and OKX off in terms of liquidation levels like that. And really what I'm focused on is the red line and the green line. I kind of want to get out of the way. Whenever we have a really big green line over here, that's like a big old cliff, this is basically the order books on the short side. Okay, this means that at $2.35, you'd have a cumulative of $173 million in shorts liquidated. These are people who will get their positions sold or completely lose their money liquidated if the price pumps up to $2.35. On the flip side, you have about $62 million of long liquidations if the price dumps to $1.83. These are people that are long or buying the markets. In other words, if the market dumps to $1.83, you're going to have $62 million liquidated, or people lose $62 million. That said, whenever I get a big old cliff like this typically tells me that the majority of the market is short. And we're talking to the tune of over $100+ million over the long side. So everyone is really leaning short, and that's what leads me to believe 9 times out of 10, what I found to be true is when you go ahead and pull up the XRP chart and you look at the price action, you see something like this, and the short sellers are in control, it's likely likely we're going to get one last slight dump down to maybe $1.95 or just slightly above or below this wick right here, and then the market will start to rally in similar fashion to what we saw on Bitcoin, specifically with that Peter Brandt chart. So that said, it is likely that something like this is going to happen. And to further confirm that, if I hop on over to CoinGlass like this right here, and you can see this is exactly the same XRP chart, just on an hourly time frame. Whenever you get the situation where the price is actually dumping, like it is right here, however, we have open interest increasing, this simply means that shorts are opening at the market. So yes, we did get a decent amount of long liquidations right here on this dump. However, the market has continued selling off, which means people are becoming more bold about opening short positions. And whenever you get a situation like this in a longer term uptrend, even though the short sellers are in control or the bears are in control, one last little dump might be enough to just get some big money to move in, buy in at these local lows, and then really pump the market higher and liquidate all of these short sellers. So my personal opinion is we might go a little lower and then we get a major pump or some serious money stepping in. Now, if that does not happen, then our theory is wrong. And the theory on the channel has been that we are going to see a bull market continue to trend strongly through at least March, April, or May of this year. And if it does not, then this would have been one of the shortest bull markets in recent history, if not all history, in crypto. In other words, crypto is becoming more like any traditional asset class and less like its really big, strong mover asset class. Already it's performing really strongly relative to other markets. However, it typically used to pump for at least a couple of years. Right now, this would have been one of the shortest bull runs in history if this is truly the breakdown that we don't see any last new all-time highs. So with that said, I would like to see the price either on a daily time frame break back above the 10 or 20 EMA and definitely above this $2.35 range and actually hold it. Or I would like to see the price break down to about $1.95 or just slightly lower to like $1.87 by this range and then watch the market start to rally. However, if we fail to actually hold this range, we break down, we start toying with this range as this thing becomes weaker and weaker and weaker, and now we have the 10 EMA deviate further from the 20 EMA, then yes, I think things are over for quite a while. But as things stand, I actually think this is more of a trap, which is why I will be buying at $1.95 or about $2.35. Anything in between, I really don't want to mess with, as I've already added to my positions at $2.20 and then again at $1.95 back here. I don't need to add any more risk onto my play or portfolio. So as things stand, it is a patient man's game. And again, sometimes the fortune is made in the sitting on your hands or in the waiting. So one last time, if you haven't already, again, the time is running out. Head on over to bullrunners.com to check out Altcoin Pro University and do it before we raise the price in about 24 to 48 hours. I think by the time you watch this, it'll be about 24 hours, and then you will be grandfathered in or locked in at that $97 a month rate. If you do not start before then, it's going to be $197. So you might as well just check it out. Everything you get on the other side. Watch this short video.
You've heard of all of
this is where Nick explains exactly what you get. But thanks so much for watching the video. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, like the video. It helps the channel out. And I will see you in the next video, my friend. Goodbye.